Welcome, y'all. Welcome back. Y'all know where we at. This is the Business of Pleasure podcast, sponsored by Bedroom Kandi by Kandi Burris. I am Cash, your sexologist bestie, and we're going to dive straight in. Y'all already know this is your one-stop shop where we're going to kind of have a little bit of a conversation about the fun and the pleasure, but we also get into this business. All right. And I'm about to get up in her business because to my right, I got an amazing, awesome, kink, enthusiastic, beautiful, gorgeous, melanated sister for you this Women's History Month, known as Goddess Aya. Hi, Aya.
Hey, how you? What's up?
I'm so happy you came through. And I am really, really excited for folks to get to hear from you. They get to hear from so many different perspectives. And I think that's important that you guys don't just hear one because it helps you define and shape out the things you're interested in. But what I would love for you to do is talk to us about how you identify in the lifestyle and just a little bit about you.
So, yeah, I'm Goddess Aya from the Goddess's House, and I'm a lifestyle party host. I'm a sacred sex goddess. I'm a tantric priestess. I do lifestyle parties, educational workshops and retreats, and events in Phoenix. So that's where I kind of come from. I started doing that in 2021, so it's been fun.
It's been a good time. You know, it's so funny. I would say this, I feel like post-pandemic, we got like a surge more of people interested in like creative and interesting spaces. I don't know if it was being trapped inside or what,
Sure.
You know, but yeah. And then I think mental health became a huge thing in self-care. And so I found so many more people exploring what types of things bring them pleasure. Mm-hmm. And I don't just define pleasure as it relates to, adult things, because pleasure is simply what brings you happiness, what brings you joy, what pleases you. Mm-hmm. So what I really want to kind of get into in this conversation is defining that pleasure. Mm-hmm. We like to call the individuals that sit with us a pioneer of pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Because in your own way, you are pioneering and shaping what this looks like. So you did talk about some of the things that you do, but I was stalking. I was all up in her business on Instagram. And the first thing I came across was this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful roped up. And that's a how on now, zoom in. I absolutely love the art that is created with rope. Mm-hmm. And I think so many people can't deny when they see it, that natural attraction of turning the body into an art landscape. Mm-hmm. But there are other things to it that a lot of people don't know. Absolutely. And so you had to deposit rope bunny, which, I'll let you classify to those who are curious about what does that term mean, or if it sounds like something you want to be. What is a rope bunny?
Yeah. A rope bunny is somebody who likes to be tied up with rope, bonded, or suspended, because you don't have to be suspended if you're into just being tied up or into rope. But yeah, it's an interesting passion. The first time I learned about rope in any way, I was actually at a dungeon in Arizona called Arizona Power Exchange, and I went with a group of friends with my now ex-husband because some people ain't into everything for everybody. That's what we found out that day. But I walked into this dungeon and there was this guy stringing a woman up like to a little circular just ring in the ceiling. And she was like moving, flowing, changing positions. Like he kept tying and untying her in places, and she just looked like a ballerina.
In the air.
Yeah. I was just like, this is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen. Like, it was just gorgeous to watch the different ties and how her body moved and how they worked together, how they communicated. It was thrilling. Like, I knew I loved it. My ex-husband was like, nah, that's not for me.
I always say, in my political career, there was a great mentor who told me at one point that in life, there's no such thing as permanent relationships, only permanent agendas. And when he said that, he was talking about it as it related to politics, obviously, but I realize it applies across the board. And when I say that, it means we always say, I want to make sure we're on the same page, right? Or, we use these words loosely, but truthfully, if your agenda and my agenda don't come together some way, shape, or form, it can directly impact the relationship and cause it to end. Yeah. And a lot of times people take for granted that piece when it comes to pleasure. We know intimacy in any relationship is a huge component, but feeling deprived,
For sure.
feeling deprived
For sure.
of something that brings you pleasure is such a restrictive feeling that a lot of times people think they might be able to ignore it.
Nope.
It surfaces.
It keeps flashing out.
Yeah,
Comes back
so
out.
I imagine, that was a tough thing to navigate, but I want to commend you for having awareness and for knowing yourself,
Yeah, for sure.
because a lot of people would just suppress it and just go and do whatever. And this resentment boils. And I'll tell you the guys, as a sexologist, majority of the time people come to me with sex problems. It's not sex, it's the problem. It's actually another area or communication thing that's impacting it. And it's also usually that page just not being the same or close enough, right? So I appreciate you sharing that with us and, being open and speaking about it, because I know that those type of changes can be hard. But I got to imagine that through that shift and that change that you had to redefine what you meant to yourself. So you started curating lifestyle elements. Okay. That means she is the space creator. Tell me about the first time you threw a LS event and what type of craziness.
There was no craziness involved. I was fresh after leaving my ex because, like I said, I was in this dungeon. Like I ended up becoming a dominatrix for a spell and learning how to do rope and how to dominate men. And it was really fun and I loved it. But I was fresh out of just leaving him, and my roommate was like, sounds like you need to get laid. I was like, oh, for sure. I do. Like, let's go.
Real talk.
Yeah. That weekend we went to my first sex party and I walked in there. I was like, whoa, Black people do this? Eyes wide open. I was like, oh my God, I am home. I have found my place. I can be safe to sexually express myself. And I just immediately, I was like, when are we doing this? Is anybody doing this in Tempe? Because we need to do this.
We need to do it.
And yeah, so we had our first party the very next weekend. It was Labor Day weekend.
That's dope.
Very next week.
What's so interesting? I always say what doesn't exist or what you want, you can't find, or isn't what you find in it the way you like it, create it.
Exactly.
But I understand that's a responsibility a lot of people don't want to take on. But one of the things that I will say, I've been in plenty of spaces. Whether I went through as a voyeur or an active participant in different things. And everyone does things differently.
Yeah.
You also deal with a lot of new people to the space who don't know what to look for as a sign that things are not what they're supposed to be. Yeah. And while I was stalking you and getting up I was trying to get in between your left and your right in the middle. Right? I want to be the rope space. There was a rope came down right here. And I was like, I want to be that part of the rope. So I happened to go and explore your guidelines. And I don't think you understand. I was on a little happy dance. I cannot begin to tell you how many spaces that I've been in that doesn't prioritize making sure people know what to expect. Yeah. And also know what is not allowed and what won't be tolerated. So it was really nice to see that you put that at the forefront and that anyone who might be new or curious didn't have to have the hesitation or scary feeling of, is this going to be a safe space because of that? So one of the things I love most, right, and what I saw is that you used a model that, some people are familiar with different acronyms that we use to help as, kind of sort of mnemonic devices to remember the rules. And you had the F.R.I.E.S model in there. And then I fell in love again.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about what the F.R.I.E.S model of consent is and what it represents and how this is something that you incorporate into your events?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to talk about what is consent.
Yep.
Because that's where we have to start with. It's asking permission, period. Asking permission. And if you do not ask permission, it is assault. And I really need to stress that because as a highly sexual woman, I've been sexually assaulted twice this year already. And it's not people don't know. I think people don't really know. So actions that might look like, oh, I'm just trying to convince you to do something. Guys want you to give them head. They're pushing your head down. That's not consensual. That's sexual assault. So
women do it a lot as well.
Yeah.
I was actually at an event recently, especially those who are not in the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, naturally as girls, there are things that we could do that, get a pause on the other side. Right. But because I am full figure, people feeling like they have the right to just
grab your ass
and squeeze. Oh, girl.
Right.
And this and that. And because we're women, it's supposed to be this exception to the rule of, baby, this is my body.
Yeah. Exactly. Nice.
This is my body. Yes. So I've had to, and I very playfully corrected. If I know a person doesn't know any better, I'll go, did you ask? I'll say something like that, playful. And they'll be like, I'm so sorry. Can I? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe on punishment because first, I'll play with it. But in truth, it's not really a joke. Right. I do that because I want them to be aware that they didn't realize what they just did. It happens in play spaces so much. At least play spaces that don't enforce safety. So if you're looking at what to look for in a play space, it's setting an example plenty of people need to follow.
Right. Indeed.
Okay. Right. I'm gonna leave that there. I just spoke a language that only certain people understood that. So can you expand on the F.R.I.E.S model?
Yeah. So the F.R.I.E.S is an acronym for freely given, reversible. It's informed. It is enthusiastic, and it is
specific.
Okay. So here's how we break those down. Freely given mean that there's no coercion involved. This person is saying, yes, I want this. And in my lifestyle parties, I say only a yes is a yes. So that means you have to communicate your yes clearly. And you as the receiver of that has to listen for a yes. If she's, I don't know, or, skirting around, that's a no until it's a yes. So that's what freely given means. And
and not the pressure, like, come on. Yes, I'm saying, let me, that is a form of pressure and coercion. If you're trying to convince a person that to make a yes out of something that they feel uncertain of, that is a form of coercing them. And I want to just say this because when we're dealing with people who have confused lines of what that looks like or may have experienced certain types of trauma, right? They may not realize that because they were conditioned sometimes psychologically to think that that's okay because, I said yes. Yeah. But that confusion that I said yes is not, I said yes. Yes, please, thank you. Today, tomorrow, next week. So I just wanted to put that in there because sometimes we don't realize that. And go ahead, my dear.
Yeah. So reversible means that you can take it back at any time. If you're at a point where, this has gone too far for you, you can say, hey, I'm okay. I'm not actually interested in this, or I'm not comfortable with what's happening right here. Or can you walk me through a little bit more before we continue? Like, just know at any point you can you just say no, change your mind.
You can change your mind.
You change your mind.
And then informed.
Informed means you know what you're getting yourself into. So you've communicated, right? You've talked about, hey, this is what I like to do. Is that okay with you? Yes or no? Or what are the risks or benefits? And can you, tell me about your experience level here? That's another thing too. Because a lot of times people jump into kink things thinking that just anybody can do them. And specifically something like rope, it is very, very technical.
Yes.
You need to know where arteries are. You need to know where nerves are. You need to know what it looks like when somebody's fainting. You need to be able to help support them to the ground. You need to have scissors on it. Like, there's so much. So you need to have that communication and talk about what this is so they know what they're getting themselves into.
And you know what I love about that? The preparation is such a big piece of it. And that you just talked about, because in order to do those things responsibly, you have to prepare. You have to know to have certain things on hand in the event of, you see with a lot of things.
Yeah.
You see people doing fire might have the fire safety blankets to quickly put out a flame if necessary. So make sure if you're not observing a person look like they did any level of those preparations, that's a huge red flag.
Exactly.
that they ain't informed.
Right. Precisely.
Yes. And then enthusiastic is obvious.
Yes.
We talk, like I just said earlier, it's not just it's a yeah.
Yeah. Like you're into that. You want this. Yeah.
And then I would say, when we say specific, like we see all these tools, just because a person says yes to this, don't mean they said yes to this or this. Yeah. So just be clear about what you're saying yes to. And if there is a clause that you're saying yes to this, but I'm not comfortable with that. Or you can do it, but soft, but not too hard.
Exactly.
Those are specific measures. And just, I saw you guys have a house safe word, which I love because it's like if anyone hears it or if a monitor in the room hears it, anyone knows that that's a one. But a lot of people use different systems, traffic light systems, in their own personal spaces or in king spaces where green is go.
Right. You just have to have a level of communicating. Yeah, exactly what you're trying to do here. Like, yeah, this is too much. I'm red. I'm stopping. Yeah, yellow is I'm getting to where it's uncomfortable, but I can still take it or like keep it right here type communication.
You know, and it's so funny because sometimes people hear us talk about this and they feel like that is too much, right? Like there's so much to remember. And I will say this, that I realized until I got into BDSM, I thought I knew what it looked like to have a person communicate about my boundaries. And I realized that never really ever happened in any relation I've ever had because no one took the time to go that deep. But I will say this is how a lot of people, like you said, end up in an accidental circumstance and realizing that trauma responses vary. Some people fight, some people flight, some people freeze. And you don't want to be in a situation where you're stuck and you don't know, oh, what did I get into or what did I do? I mean, that can happen without doing any of these things. So I love that. Now, I did want to really quick before we go, I happened to see you did an event recently where you were talking about doing some things in a bedroom. Okay, get a little kinky in the bedroom.
Bedroom bondage.
Yes, bedroom bondage. And as soon as I saw that, I had grabbed one of these products because I said, I gotta get this in her hand. Let me see what she think about it. Yes. The reason why I do this is because we have a lot of stuff. We have over 250 items in our catalog, but it's important that we get feedback. I actually like to know what people like. I like to know what people don't like when they put a product in the hand because we're also committed to improving. Yes. So when I saw bedroom bondage, I had to grab the bed restraint. Now, this four-corner bed restraint, you can't see it kind of hang all the way, but it's because it's long.
Yes.
Real. This is like our chairs. Yeah. Chairs, you know, right? So it's meant to fit from a small as a twin, but hopefully.
Who's fucking on twin?
What are y'all doing? Hopefully. But you know what's so funny? So I was on a damn track one time.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I might have to make a smaller thing work.
Yeah.
But it does expand to a king or California king with the adjustables. But there is a shorter restraint. There is a longer restraint, one for the ankles, one for the wrist, because one tends to need more. And instead of a mechanism that's hard to get out of, we use Velcro for this one. Yeah. And you can, so the thing is, you can unsnap the ones that it comes with and attach your own tool that you're more comfortable with if you want something a little bit more hardcore. But I want you to play with it, touch it, feel it, and just tell me from, your own experience, your thoughts. And maybe how you might use it.
I think that's obvious. You're about to get tied down to a bed. No, I love it. I think it's really fun to experiment, especially if you're like trying to spice things up in your relationship to, try some things. And having something like this where you can just like attach it to your bed and just tie them up. Like, I think it's really fun, user-friendly, easy. And yeah, it looks like travel-friendly too.
I like to be a hoe on the go. For sure. They be like, oh, spend a night there. I'll be like, whole fanny pack. Whatever. So I'm very big. So you hit on the nose. If you see, even though it looks like it's a whole bunch, no, it'll literally just wrap up. Yeah. Just like that. It actually comes in a satin bag that you keep it in, travel with, but it can go in your purse, your tote bag. So it is very travel friendly, and it only takes about 3 minutes to set up because you'll just run the center line under the mattress in between that and the box spring or whatever's under it, and then pull to each corner and tighten to your own comfort. Right. I think I'll just tell you though, it's something very sexy about when they put it, when you watch them strap your, can I? Yeah. When you watch them strap your hands, it's something for me about watching them do this. Like that makes me feel special, right? And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. So I'm not going to put it too tight, but obviously you can attest to the level. And I love when they make eye contact and they pull this and or when they give you that and you like, Oh, it's about something that happened to me.
I love it when they do that to my legs. Just hoist them up. Just hoist them.
Baby, so I got to get you a play with me strap. We had to send her a play with me strap. Baby, yes. You talking to the right girl, because I got something to pull them legs back anywhere.
Pull them back.
Yeah, and it's, you know what it is? This to me is a good way to practice trust in a simple way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, there are other ways that it's a little bit, we don't want to have no trust falls on the first run. But I love the fact that, any person who is restrained could actually get out if they wanted to, because we always make sure that you can snap out, because you're supposed to be in it because you chose to.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you, when it comes to, because I already know we got to get her play with me strap. You see how these conversations go? Now I know we're going to send her, right? When it comes to, and just kind of bringing us towards the end, how do you feel about sensory stimulation? Are you you like deprivation? You like heightening your senses?
I want it all. I want every sensation possible. I'm an extremely sensitive human. Like, you can blow on me and I'm gonna come. So do it, okay? Over and over all day long. Like,
it's so funny because I realized that I have a different level of sensitivity with my partner, my man now, that I thought I was like at peak sensitivity. But what you start to learn, guys, is once you have an emotional vulnerability to a person, your body naturally relaxes itself in a different way and it can heighten it. And one of the other things I thought about when you guys did the bedroom thing, I was like, I love to be able to pack my stuff on a go and turn any bedroom into a dungeon.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I asked about that because the eye mask is like one of my favorite, simple tuck in this can fit in like my little back. On the plane.
She's like, I'm going.
On the plane, it's lights out. I'm going to sleep. Right. Yeah. But can I ask you, I know you have makeup on your eyes, so I don't want you to touch, but to feel it. And how do you feel about total blackout? How do you feel when you can't tell what's coming? Can you describe that?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have like 6 senses, so I can still feel people when they're around me. But that allows me, actually having the sensory deprivation allows me to tune in to that other sense a little bit better, where I can just I'm in the anticipation and I'm like observing the energy with other senses, which we don't do often as humans. Like we are overstimulated as a whole already. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes we really do need to tune out, turn down, and give up like the access to the sensations so that we can relax in our mind. It really calms our mental state, re-regulates us, puts us in a calmer brain waves. Like, yeah, being tied up is fine.
I always tell people we have to tune out to tune in.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that sounds, crazy, but it really is, especially those who carry a lot. It's sometimes hard to transition.
Exactly.
And for me, one of my recent practices, because if I'm being honest and I'm very transparent, for a little while, I forgot how to rest. Right. I have a huge jetted tub in my bathroom, and I would get in that tub every day, but I would be on my phone the whole time.
Yeah.
And realizing that even in my relaxation space, I was inviting, like you said, sensations, overstimulated, those type of things. So I'm so happy you said that, because it's real. And ask yourself, like, when you're supposed to be doing a calming thing, are you still multitasking?
Well, yeah.
What I've started doing is I sit in the tub now and I keep lavender, things like that going. Yeah. And I just put the mask on and I lay my head back and I let the water kind of surround me. Yeah. And I'll tell you guys, I was getting migraines every night and they stopped. So you would be surprised that maybe that overstimulating can actually do that. You got to imagine if you're trying to get you you're trying to bust a.
Yep.
Y'all over here trying to figure out why you can't come.
You got 100 things in your brain.
But what is one of your favorite types of sensation? Are you like if you had to pick between temperature, impact, let me think, because I want to really restrain any of those type of things. What would you say is your favorite?
I would say impact.
Impact.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like being here.
So I'm going to make sure that Goddess Aya gets a gift box from me. And I'm going to explain to you what exactly I want you to do when you get it.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that you're a good enough girl to listen. Okay? Where my good girls at?
Good girl.
Where my good girls at? So, I love, listen, you already know when they start, when you like, I did a good job.
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'm like, okay. So, I'm going to make sure that you get an impact tool and eye mask and these restraints, right? And the next time I would like you to, with trust, right, have yourselves 4-corner restrained face down on the mattress, right? I want it. Right? It's nice. I would like you masked, okay? So that you can anticipate what's coming, right? Yeah. And I want to send you a paddle, right? So that way, when that impact of the paddle is about to come against some cheeks, you can't tell what's happening. However, to increase the sensation, okay, all right, because I like to add a little other element, I'm going to send you one of our unwind items. Okay, now unwind has CBD. Are you okay with CBD?
I love CBD.
Oh, I love your cannabis cream. So if you like heat or cold, hot or cold,
I'm hot. I'm run cold.
So we're going to get her some of these candles, y'all. The heated from the candle, I will tell you, while you're restrained face down, you get a nice body rub with the heat. It is soy candle. And then after that, get that thing spanked. But the CBD is going to make the sensation heighten.
More intense.
So since you're already a sensory girl, we're going to deprive to excite. All right. Now, I do want to ask you really quick as we close it. I know you're always doing events and things like that. Please, 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 my love, tell them if you have anything coming up, if you have anything going on, some of the things you teach, if they want to connect with you, how, plug yourself.
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at thegoddess.ayat or the Goddess's House. That's the, main business. I am switching the business though. Like I'm kind of leaving lifestyle parties. I want more intimacy, more connection, more focus on communication and consent. So I'm switching the model a little bit in the next few months here. I'm kind of laying the foundation right now. But the first program I'm going to do is going to be a sacred sensuality for weight loss program. I don't have the name yet. But I've been
talk.
Yes, for sure. Like,
I lost 120 pounds. You got to talk.
Awesome. Yes, girl. It's like I lost 80 pounds.
Yeah.
Basically just fucky. So, yeah.
Sexercise, baby. We love sexercise.
Exactly.
So I want to support that, first of all. And we love to invite experts into our space, into our community who love to create safe spaces for people to explore. Because we're having these conversations and now you're trying to figure out where can I go. So, one, do you offer product at your event?
I don't, not right now. Well, actually, that's not true. Kiki and Miss Nisha from OMG do Bedroom Kandi at
the event. So
there.
I want to extend an invitation to the community.
Okay.
I would love for you to join our team of influencers. And what that looks like is that means I'm going to get some things to you, but I'm also going to drop some credit for you to go do a little shopping.
Fun.
To be able to offer these to add another stream of income at your event if you want to. And you can also make it online if you, use it and share a link so people can. But that also give you access to get a huge discount, somewhere between 30 and 50% on any of the stuff you want to get for yourself as well. So that's something else that I always think about. And it won't cost you anything.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so nothing to go in, but a whole lot can come out.
Hey, this business girl.
Yes. Listen, because I think that in this day and age, guys, and I'm going to leave y'all on this point, we cannot put all the eggs in one basket.
Sure we can.
Because there's too much uncertainty.
Yes.
Right. So I feel like in uncertainty, you need options. Our collection isn't just, we have some intro kink items. We have bath and body,
sex toys,
cosmetics. I'm wearing our lipstick and our eyeshadows, things like that. We have the toys. We have CBD. We have sex ed books. So when you're teaching workshops on certain things, you can also have an educational material as well as like sensual books, poetry books, that people can also incorporate. I mean, we got the lipstick vibes, the panty vibes. I mean, the suckers. I mean, the bottom line is we got a lot going on over here.
Yeah.
And recently just added a new skincare collection because we do feel like pleasure is a two-inch street. You have to take care of ourselves to be present with ourselves.
Exactly.
So I'm going to hook you up.
Thank you. Receive RIC.
In Women's History Month episodes, we are absolutely growing women's businesses and giving them more ways to earn.
Yes.
Thank you for sitting down and talking to me. I'm so grateful for this conversation, and I cannot wait for you guys to see more of what she's doing. I'll make sure that you guys have her website on screen or her information on screen to contact her if you're interested in finding out about her next event.
Yeah.
And again, Bedroom Kandi does have a women's sexuality history event. It is happening on Thursday, March 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. So you can tune in from anywhere, where you can learn a little bit more about some things to help liberate yourself. That has been an episode of the Business of Pleasure podcast. I'm your host, and we are out of here. Yay.